And welcome back, everybody, to America's favorite TV podcast. I'm Jay Black, joined as always by Angelo Cataldi and Rhea Hughes. And guys, we have big news, not your big news that you can't announce, Rhea, but I have big news. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about a TV show called Ted. And we talked about the character, the main character that isn't the teddy bear in that show. And I was watching a review of it, and they mentioned that kid's name. It's Max Burkholder, who used to be on a TV show called Parenthood on NBC. And he was also on a TV show that I produced called Paulie that had one episode as a pilot 10 years ago. I forgot that the kid was on it. I only recognized it when I heard the name. It was produced independently, and it was supposed to go on a TV channel called the Audience Network on DirecTV. They were going to do original series there for a while. We got all the way through to the end. They said, we'll call you after Christmas. Then everybody involved on the hiring side got fired on the holidays, and then we couldn't get a phone call. Anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I called my writing partner, Brian Herzlinger. He has the episode, and I'm going to send it to you guys after this. Cool. It's called Paulie. It stars Paul Sorvino, Janine Garofalo, Michael Madsen, and now possibly the biggest star left alive, Max Burkholder, plays the young man. So I'm excited to send it to you, and next week I'm hoping you guys can review my TV show, which I'll be sending to you.
Yes. Did you have a lot of failed pilots, Jay?
This is the only failed pilot I was a part of. This is the only TV I did. Now, I've been a part of many failed movies, but this is the only failed TV show that I was a part of. So in any event, I wanted to get that right out on the front line. I'm excited to hear your thoughts about it. I'll shoot that to you as soon as it's over. But I wanted to start today. I sent you guys a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to move through it quickly. First thing on the list is Variety put out its streaming charts this week. And it's, top 10 shows in America, as far as they can tell, that's being streamed. And what's interesting to me was that half of the shows, and I'll just run them down. This Is Us, Grey's Anatomy, Young Sheldon, NCIS, and Suits are legacy shows from the last 10 years, 12 years. Grey's Anatomy has been around, 20 years. That are just regular network shows, just regular shows you'd see on cable, or not like golden age of TV shows. And I'm just wondering, did they judge the American public? Does the American public not want Fancy Dan TV shows? Do they just want like 22 episodes of dumb entertainment? Angela, you're nodding your head. Do you think
Here's the thing. So, like I said, I watch a lot of stuff now because I'm retired. And I watched the People's Choice Awards on Sunday night.
Right.
And it pitted two shows against one another. People's Choice, the viewers' votes. All right. And it pitted The Bear, which is the best show on TV right now. Yep. We all agree with that.
100%.
Against a corpse. Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, no.
73rd season. Rhea, do you want to guess which of the two won the People's Choice?
The show that I have never watched. Never, not one time.
I don't understand it. I mean, I guess we're overestimating how many people still watch TV, with an antenna where they don't see all the streaming quality stuff that we're seeing now. And among those, I guess the shows they picked are among the better ones. But I don't understand it. I honestly don't understand it. The shows that are being streamed, the original stuff from Netflix and Hulu and those, they're better shows.
Yeah,
they're better.
They really are. And I do wonder, Rhea, you watch a lot of murder shows and stuff like that, a lot of dark shows. I wonder, do you ever, when you're not watching those shows, just want to zone out on something that's friendly and fun? Do you think it's like a burnout from the darkness of the quality shows,
That's a really good point, because here's what I'll say is I do agree that when you go onto Netflix and what's on the top page, people watch. Like my son has watched every episode, watched it with his father, of Suits, and loves it. I mean, he's one of the billions who've watched Suits. I know I haven't seen it. I've never really been into lawyer shows, but I will tell you, because I've said this to you guys in emails, that the past couple of weeks I've gotten into shows that I've really liked, and then they kill off a favorite character of mine, and I'm like, I'm out.
Right.
So I do get I mean, those kind of shows for some people, and I have them, they're comfort food. Superstore, Modern Family. Those are when I just want to make dinner and throw something on the TV and laugh and know that my favorite character is not getting killed off unceremoniously. That I think it's just comfort food for people, those shows. And especially because remember, you have a lot of older people now who have cut the cord. Right. So now they are on Netflix. They're like, oh, I know that show and I'm just going to watch it because it's familiar and I like it. And they may not get the whole streaming thing. So I do get, and Netflix is smart by putting it right there. It's like, hey, these are the top 10 shows, and people go, oh my God, if it's a top 10 show, I got to watch it.
The younger people don't maybe not remember the days of syndicated television. They still exist.
Oh, yeah.
But you remember like Fox 29 would have the Seinfeld hour from like 11 to midnight, or they'll say every day MASH from 7 to 8 p.m. Your back-to-back episodes of MASH. Yeah. I'd watch that all the time. I saw every episode of MASH 600 times. So maybe this is just the extension of that into the streaming era.
I got to get one thing in here, Jay, because this is driving me nuts now, the Suits phenomenon. I was with a couple this weekend, and they said they're completely infatuated with binging Suits. Meghan Markle, it went off the air 5 years ago. I guess they're trying to bring it back now without Meghan.
Right.
I tried twice to watch it. Unlike Clark Cohn, I could not get hooked on this show. But now
I'm thinking,
it took me
he's
3 times.
He's a teenager, and the women in it are beautiful. So maybe it's a different reason.
Well, it took me 3 shots for Succession, Rhea. So now I'm thinking, do I have to give? So many people right now are watching Suits. And it's like, really? That's the best we got out there? But you know what? I think I'm going to give it one more shot now.
I wonder... I mean, it's from USA's Blue Skies era, where they just were like, we're going to put on shows that are in sunny locations that people will enjoy. And maybe that's the comeback. Maybe it's just going to be all sunny locations from now on. I could use with some sun. It's February. All right. So a place that had no sun at all was True Detective season 4, which I got to be honest, I did not watch. It's on my list. I'm going to be watching it next week. 2 things that came out of this. First thing that came out of it was the original guy who did True Detective, and I'm going to try to say his name right. It's very Italian. So Nick Pizzolatto. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, you got it.
Nick Pizzolatto, who did a genius first season of True Detective. Genius. We all agree on that. And then had diminishing returns thereafter. He got canned by HBO. Apparently, he was very difficult to work with. They brought in a new showrunner. And the response to this season has been less than grand from a lot of people. And Nick Pizzolatto apparently spent most of Sunday night retweeting fans that did not like the show. And he went back and he deleted all of it. It's funny, but I'm just wondering, this is not something you see usually from a showrunner, this level of pettiness. Do we like this level of pettiness, or do we dislike it? Rhea, you're nodding emphatically. You liked it?
I was trained by the best, and he's right there next to us, okay? Petty is awesome because petty is actual true people's feelings, okay? Right. So I didn't know, like, I have not watched it. I have not watched season 4, but I didn't know that he got canned. So, okay, now that I know that he got canned, that I get it. But I mean, my timeline, I must be on a different timeline because I kept getting, somebody told me it had to do a lot with the supernatural, which I am not into. Ever since X-Files, which I loved, I never really got into supernatural. But I love Jodie Foster. And everybody kept saying, my timeline was filled with people sending snippets. And I go, oh, this looks interesting. Maybe I'll watch it. But listen, I mean, he's a petty, sore loser. But I love it. I think that only drives more people to watch it. I think it's good.
Interested. Yeah.
We made a living doing with petty sore losers.
Yes, we did.
Get this in, because it appears I'm the only one that actually watched the show.
Yeah.
Because I did recommend it very briefly a couple of weeks ago. And I was watching it because I hadn't seen Jodie Foster in a long time. And she's still great. Man, is she a great actress, right? But Rhea's going right away. She's going to go, oh, here we go with this jerk again. This is a while since I did anything like that. Rhea, I stopped watching after 3 episodes for a reason that had nothing to do with the show itself. Well, kind of just a little to do with the show. Callie Reese was one of the top detectives. She is an actress, a former boxer. And I mentioned this on our show here a couple of weeks ago, too. She has pierced cheeks.
I saw that in a picture.
Are indented.
Yeah.
It looks like they hurt, right?
I saw that.
Couldn't watch the show, Jack.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I was going, she was a boxer. Did she have the pierced things in? Because if somebody punched her in the cheek, she probably would have really hurt, right?
She lives in South Philly.
She lives in South Philly.
Don't say that out loud. She'll come find me.
Nothing against you. That's your fashion statement. That's fine. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch.
I saw a picture of it and I maximized it because I was like, is there something on her cheek? And that's people's.
I know.
I saw.
Yeah. I guess they're hold it on the other side like that. Oh, it's.
But you liked the show. You just couldn't get past the cheek earrings.
I couldn't get past the cheek.
The cheerings.
When a show goes from a regular show to a David Cronenberg body horror episode, I think I'm out as well. I'm with you, Angelo.
Couldn't do it.
I did see Alan Sepinwall was getting a lot of heat because he said he loved the finale. He said it was an excellent one. And he seems to be alone among a lot of critics in loving the finale. And I just, real fast, because we got a lot to get to, I have a take on, I was thinking about like, what is something I love that everybody hates or something that I hate that everybody loves? I loved the Seinfeld finale in 98 that everybody hated. I thought it was a fitting end to that show. That's my hill I'm going to die on. That they start with the same conversation they opened the show with was a bit of Larry David brilliance, that they're stuck in Sartre's no exit to end out their lives together forever. I loved it. I thought it was dark and beautiful. And I'm alone in that. You have something like that off the top of your head. Angelo, what do you got? What's your thing?
This is bizarre, but I got to say it. I totally hate Wheel of Fortune. All right. And I'm going to tell you what.
Hates Wheel of Fortune.
Rhea, it has been riding the coattails of Jeopardy for 4 decades now.
Correct.
The game itself stinks. All right. The host, Pat Sajak, stinks. All right. Being in white, not that talented. You know what I'm saying? Pointing at numbers, whatever she's doing. It's a stupid show. And now Ryan Seacrest is honored to take it over. So it's going to be awful again. Why is it still on? Why do people watch that garbage?
I know people who watch it, Ange, believe it or not. I'm shocked by it, but I don't watch network TV, so I don't know. I don't ever see it.
I will say it's on at the gym every once in a while. I'm on the treadmill and I'll see a puzzle and I'll start working out in my head. I think that's just, you start going like, I think I know this. Rhea, what's yours? What's your
Angelo knows this, and for years he's claimed that I've had a feud. The only person who doesn't know about the feud is the massive star who I allegedly have a feud with. But Silver Linings Playbook, I absolutely hate it. Not only did I hate it, Jay, I got invited to the premiere. So in order to interview Bradley Cooper, who was doing interviews at the Link, I was doing it for the show I was doing at Comcast Sportsnet. I had to go see it. I lasted halfway through the movie and I left. I hated it so bad that I left. In my defense, Angelo, you might not remember this. I don't think Stan Hochman liked it either, and he loved the book. He actually read the book.
Jay, she's telling half the story. Rhea is such a journalist that she sits down with Bradley Cooper. Now, you know the way these interviews go with the media, that everybody gets 10 minutes and they ask softball questions because they want to kiss up.
Right.
Rhea doesn't kiss up. Rhea goes to Bradley Cooper Why did you have to use the cliche about throwing snowballs at Santa Claus? And she challenges him.
I did.
And he's not thrilled by the challenge.
Not in the least.
Started the feud that remains till today in my mind only.
In his mind only. And I'm just for a disclaimer, I really like Bradley Cooper in Hangover. I thought was really one of the more underrated people in that. Like everybody always points. I love Bradley Cooper in that. I've loved him, in a lot of stuff. He's been terrific. I just did not like that movie at all.
It's too late now, Rhea. You can't kiss up to him. He hates you.
I heard that every time they cut to Bradley Cooper during an Eagles game, Rhea throws a snowball at her TV. That's what I heard. I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of NFL feuds, this was late breaking from Angelo yesterday, and we had to get it into the show. According to the New York Post, the audio, everybody in America saw Travis Kelce, Mr. Taylor Swift, run over to Andy Reid during the Super Bowl, bump into him while he was screaming. And apparently he was mic'd up for the NFL films. Yeah. So at some point it was, a good assumption we'd hear what he was saying. But now you're not ever going to hear it. It's been squashed. And according to the New York Post, high-level people are saying Andy Reid was likely the person who squashed it. Number one, should we have access to this audio? And number two, why doesn't Andy Reid want people to know what's going on?
Reid, you want to start with this? Go,
I'll start.
With it. It's too easy for me.
It is too easy for Angie. Here's my whole point about this. This isn't like, years ago when Donovan McNabb was in the Super Bowl, we had always heard rumors that he had thrown up in the huddle. But there was no video that we watched. I was at the game, but Angelo sitting home, didn't see it. Me and Jacksonville didn't see it. It was just rumors. 200 plus million people saw Travis Kelce bump angrily Andy Reid. We all saw it. Okay. So this isn't something that and they won the game. I mean, they're Super Bowl champions. So why not say, like, this is what's happening, really? You want to bring people into your game? This is how much a Travis Kelce, who's already got 2 Super Bowl rings, he's got the most famous woman in the world as his girlfriend, and he wants the damn ball. He wants to be in the game.
Right.
That, to me, is we complain a lot about athletes who don't care, and this guy just not even that he wanted the ball. He wanted to be in there to be, I guess, blocking for on the play because they had the backup tight end in. To me, it's ridiculous because we all saw it.
All right, Rhea, brilliant. And let me add to that. The irony of the whole case is Travis Kelce was right. They should have been using him way more than they did. They did in the second half, and that's how they won the Super Bowl. But, Jay, I need a minute. I want to get my head right up here to talk directly to the fans.
No.
All right, fans. I tried this for 20 years. I couldn't succeed. Andy Reid has no respect for you. He has never had it. He doesn't give a damn about what you think, what you say, what you scream, what you cheer. It's all fake. He didn't answer a question honestly in 14 years here, and he's still suppressing information that should be available to everyone. He is out of control. He has never given a damn about you. And the fact that you still like him in this city, shame. Shame on you.
Is it possible Travis was saying some like really incendiary things, like he was running over going like
swearing at him.
Taylor can't cook.
Readers. They know what he said.
What did he say?
Put me in the bleeping game.
Oh, yes. I feel like that's, like you said, Rhea, that's a good thing. Would the NFL or anybody be upset that an elite athlete wanted to get into the game to block? It strikes me as odd. So it's just pure disrespect, Angelo, is what you're saying. He just doesn't care.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you know what we do respect? Rhea Hughes and America's favorite segment, the British TV segment. What do you got for us this week, Rhea?
Now, Ange, I'm not sure if you actually watched this and told me to watch it and review it. Did you watch The Tourist on Netflix?
No, I do want to see it, though.
Okay. All right. Well, good. So The Tourist is on Netflix. It's about a man, Jamie Dornan, from 50 Shades of Grey, who the first episode really grabs you. He's driving out, he's in the Australian outback, okay? And he gets into a car accident by a trucker, like a guy in a big ass truck is hunting him down. He wakes up in a hospital and he has no memory of who he is. So the first episode is really fascinating because this guy doesn't have a probationary officer comes in, her name's Helen, to interview him, but she's just really brand new at her job. She's not really a detective. So she's kind of bumbling about. So here's the interesting part. 90%, this is a real wide disparity. Critics gave it a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Viewers, 60%.
Ooh.
So to me, that's a big difference. Now I think I understand why. I'm 4 episodes in, and there will be a second season. So you've got this guy trying to figure out, he finds a note in his pocket. He's got to go to a town. There's a lot of driving in the Australian outback. So it's a little slow. It's not like it's the Caribbean. The Australian outback is dry and dusty. And so it does get a little slow. There's a major detective who's in it. He's kind of got a strange role. They bring in a waitress. There's some kind of romance between Jamie Dornan and her, but she's very mysterious. Then it makes a turn where there's a romance with somebody else you don't see coming. But so I kind of feel, and hell, I want to say something though about Helen the detective. I would want to say up and coming actress, but she's 32. I've seen her in a couple of things. Oh God, I didn't write her name down. Danielle, if you can look it up for me, Jay, it's Helen who's in the cast in The Tourist. She's been in a couple of things. You've probably seen her in a lot more. She's not your typical starlet who's beautiful. She's a big girl. I guess that's the way to say it.
Right.
But she was in
Danielle McDonald.
Danielle McDonald, who is an Australian but has lived in the States for a long time in LA because she wanted to become an actress. I think you guys have all seen the movie. It was a dramatization, Unbelievable, with Toni Collette, which was about she was one of the rape victims, and I thought she was amazing. Like she had a small role, but she was amazing. She's in a Netflix Falling for Figaro. She's getting a lot of roles because she's an amazing actress. I think probably what held her back like 10 years ago is she's not, your image of the beautiful starlet, but she chews scenery. I will say this. I like her a lot. Here's my problem is the series kind of drags once you begin to know who he is. You get the clues. And I said to myself, I got through 3 episodes and I said, all right, I'm going to go to the 4th. I'm not feeling it. Like I really felt it in the first episode. Something happened in the beginning of the 4th episode. I turned it off. I was completely turned off by it. So I just want to warn our viewers. They'll know why. I'm not going to give it away, but I may go back to it because I do want to find out the end of the series, especially because it went to season 2. But there's certain things I can't watch, and this was one of them.
Gotcha. And question: everybody keeps saying this guy's super hot, and I'm the first to admit when somebody's hot. But is this guy hot? Because he strikes me as like mid-level hot.
Shades of Gray. Like I had a friend of mine. I told him, I said, "Oh, I'm watching this great new show. Check it out. It's called The Tourist." And he sends me a text and he goes, "Oh, that's the dude from 50 Shades of Grey." And I go, "It is?" He has a shaved head. He's got a scruffy beard. So he's not playing a super handsome guy in this. So he does not look like Jamie Dornan in 50 Shades of Grey. If that's what you're looking for, you're not getting it.
Gotcha.
But he's funny in it. I will say there's a little bit of black comedy with him, and he plays that very well.
It's my dream to wake up and not know who I am, Rhea. That is my dream. I assume I'd look in the mirror and go, I guess I'm a before model. I don't know. What do we got for a teen segment this week?
All right, so Clark has this one. It's Marvel's Runaway. I know, Angelo, you and I are not Marvel people, but Marvel Runaways is a group of 6 teens who were childhood friends and then grew up to be teenagers, and they hate each other. And then they find out that their parents might be doing something really evil, like they all might be in a cult. So they're trying to investigate it. Here's what Clark said about it, because he also is, and I may review this at some point, he's going back and watching the OC. The same producer who did the OC and Gossip Girl has done Marvel Runaways. So it's a typical teen show, but there's 6 teenagers in it, which I always think producers and writers should realize when you include that large of a main people, trying to follow, Clark said he had trouble following all of the story arcs.
Right.
You got to keep it to 3. 6 is a little, he does like it. It does have 3 seasons. It is on, it's on Amazon Prime. It's on Apple. You can see it on a lot, but he does like it. But he says sometimes he's like, got to go back and go, all right, okay, that person was doing this, that. I find that happens in books a lot. When you include too many characters, you make it difficult for the viewer to keep track.
Right. Or at least make one the main character and then the other the periphery. I would agree with that. All right, Angelo, I think you and I talked a little bit about one of your picks, and I agree with it immensely. What do you got for us this week?
I'm not sure we did, but let me just, oh yeah, we did.
Yep.
All right, let me start with something documentary, which you will love. It's great. It's called Lover, Stalker, Killer. And it is a 3-part series. It is, if you've ever been on a dating app or you know anyone who ever used a dating app, wow, this is the ultimate story of getting burned on a dating app. Finding somebody who was a psycho. And the story has like 5 different twists on it. Actually, it's just one episode. That's right. It's like an hour and a half. My wife, an hour in, Gail, figured it out. I said she was wrong. I was wrong. It is great. It's funny. Women think differently than we do, Jay.
Yes.
And they can see things that we can't see. This has a twist in it. Just a little over an hour into it that blew my mind, and my wife was fully ready for it. It was great. It's a great show because you see this guy who really seems to be a nice guy. He's an auto mechanic, and he just wants to find love, and he goes on these dating apps, and it goes so out of control. It's crazy. You love it. Lover, Stalker, Killer on Netflix. 2 other things you got to say. Episode 3, final season, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Spectacular.
Wonderful.
Oh my God. They're using Leon as a sperm donor. Only they're not going, with the science part of it. Hilarious. The stuff. And he used so many of his old guys in that. Vince Vaughn's in there. Richard Lewis is in there. There's so much in it. This guy, he steals a golf lesson and he becomes a great golf. How did they get all that? Jay, you saw it, right?
I saw it. The Wordle that opened it when the Wordle gets. You weren't going to get it. That was actually the first episode of Curb my son ever watched. I said, I'm putting it on. And my son was in tears. He was like, "What is this thing?" And I was like, "You've just had your eyes open to Larry David, my boy."
And Rhea, I'm not going to be on speaking terms if you don't go on the internet after this and check out the first 17 minutes of Daily Show Monday night with Jon Stewart. You think you've seen somebody take somebody down on TV? You have never seen a takedown like Jon Stewart of that phony Tucker Carlson, who went out to interview Vladimir Putin. And did this whole PR thing on how great Russia is. Let me say right now.
I will watch it.
Jon Stewart, Rhea, you gotta.
I love him. No, I'm a huge fan. This is not that's not a hard ask.
There is no one's done TV satire the way Jon Stewart is, and he's better now than ever. You saw this, Jay. I need your response.
We spoke about it last week. I don't use the word genius lightly. Yeah. He's as close to a modern genius as we have. The guy is brilliant, and he's able to cut such intricate ideas in a simple way for people to understand. And the way they go line by line through what Tucker Carlson did and exposed it for what he is. I know he gets some flack for being down the middle. I love the guy. I will always love the guy, and he's doing great work.
He even dealt with that, Jay. He even had fun with that. He is so good. John, don't leave us anymore. We love you.
Well,
Ange, I just want to mention one thing real quick. Your recommendation of One Night in Pop, which I'm going to watch tonight.
Yeah.
Several of my friends have texted me and said it's phenomenal. So they
It
loved
is.
your recommendation and they said thank you. It was awesome.
And I
Thank
want to
you.
jump on that and say Feud as well was a great recommendation.
Thank
Dug
you.
it. That guy playing Truman Capote is amazing. That guy's amazing. He
Wow.
inhabits the role. I just love anything that takes place in the world of writers in the 60s and 70s. It was my calling. I should have been smoking a cigarette in some apartment in New York in 1971. That's what I should have been. I have a quick well, that's a recommendation. My wife and I, Angelo, have a deal. I watch 9,000 hours of her trash TV, and then once a year, she watches one movie that I like and falls asleep 40 minutes in. So I think it's a pretty fair deal that we have worked out. I watched the first 6 episodes of Love is Blind in a binge. It's a Netflix reality show where people date, but they can't see one another. I had to watch it. It was on. It's the only thing that's on in my house. And I don't know if I'm having a Stockholm syndrome, but I didn't mind it. I started with hate and sadness. And by episode 6, I was like, wait, what's happening next? And they do it in 2 parts. So the next season's coming out at the end of February. If you're looking for something you can watch with your wife and make fun of, where she's not going to be mad at you for making fun of it, this is a good one. You can just make up your little characters on the show. It's filled with awful people, and I enjoyed it. So I don't know what to say. I don't know if my taste can be trusted.
Jay, this raises an obvious issue. If your wife is addicted to Love is Blind, does she enjoy your movies on Lifetime? The ones you do?
I don't know if she's seen more than 2 or 3 of them, to be honest with you.
She's watching Love is Blind and she's not watching her husband's movies?
Listen, I'll tell you what I said, and midway through, and this I think sums up my relationship. I said, I think I would kill on this show. Because you're not, my wife is like, I agree. You are so much sexier when you can't be seen. And I feel like this sums up what we're going through as a couple. But no, my wife has no interest in my stupid things, Angelo. This is the 76th episode of the podcast. Her family is like legitimate fans of this podcast. Like her aunt loves this podcast. She's never listened to a single second of it. Even when she's walking in the background, sometimes she puts her fingers in her ear just in case she accidentally hears 3 words of this podcast. So I think the less she knows about me, the better our relationship is, in all honesty.
All right, let me go through what we've either recommended or at least tell you to check out. The big phenomenon in binge right now is Suits. That's available on Netflix for free as long as you got that. True Detective. Nicholas Pizzolatto didn't like the ending. You can watch it on Max. True Detective. That is available now for you. Also, The Tourist, Rhea's British pick, kinda, is on Netflix. Marvel Runaways is on Prime and Apple. I loved Lover, Stalker, Killer on Netflix. Curb Your Enthusiasm is on Max. On the internet, everywhere, viral, is Jon Stewart's takedown of Tucker Carlson. And if you would like to see Travis Kelce attack Andy Reid and listen to what happened, you will not, because Andy Reid hates you.
Andy Reid hates you, but we don't, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
We love you, and we're so happy you spend time with us. Please tell a friend, tell 2, tell my wife to listen every once in a while. That'd be nice. Special thanks to Jared Clapper, who does all of our back-end work, and we'll be putting out videos from the podcast. And we'll be back next week with more great TV talk. Thanks, everybody.